Shabbat Shalom. In this week's Parsha, Parshat Tisa, we have the portions that we read on every Tanit Tzibor. Begin Vayichal Moshe. Vayichal Moshe, Moshe prayed. This takes place in the middle of the drama. Moshe is on Har Sinai, getting the Torah, or getting ready to receive the Torah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu informs him that while Moshe is away from the camp, Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, have built the golden calf and are worshiping it. Moshe prayed. But looking at the parsha closely and comparing it also with the way Moshe retells these events in Sefer Dvarim, in Deuteronomy, in Parshat Ekev, there are some differences and some things that have to be cleared up. And I want to talk today about the way two of our great early medieval commentators, Avram ibn Ezra and Moshe ben Nachman, how they understood the parsha, how they understood when Moshe Rabbeinu prayed, and particularly how they understood his snap decision that he had to make at the moment of crisis when HaKadosh Baruch Hu threatened to destroy the Jews immediately. This has to do partly with their different ideologies and also with their different approaches to understanding the Torah, the literary structure of the Torah, the way the Torah tells the events, and just how much leeway we have in interpreting them. Now, Ibn Ezra has a very long comment on this portion by Vayichal. His position is that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when God told Moshe that the Jews have committed this tremendous sin, and he's thinking of destroying them immediately, Moshe did not pray. His snap decision at this moment of crisis was to go down from Har Sinai and first of all put an end to the idolatry, to the worship of the golden calf, because he says that it's simply impossible to conceive, hadat eina sovelet, one can't imagine, one can't conceive that Moshe Rabbeinu would pray on behalf of the Jewish people while they are still worshiping the calf. What kind of sense does this make? And so, from the ideological point of view, let's say, the Ibn Ezra said that Moshe first went down from the Har Sinai and destroyed the golden calf and punished those who had worshipped it, and then he prayed. And if you ask the Ibn Ezra about how do we fit your version of the story with the order in which things happen in the Torah, the Ibn Ezra says that's no problem. Ein mukdamu mucha Torah, which he takes to be a very almost an open check to rearrange the parashot any way you want in order to make sense of them. Ein mukdamu mucha Torah means that there is no chronological order, or the Torah does not tell things in the order they happened, and we can rearrange them as we see fit in order to make it more comprehensible. The Ramban, on the other hand, Moshe ben Nachman, who came after the Ibn Ezra, and says in his introduction that he has eva gluya v'ava nisteret, that he's openly hostile but deeply, very much enamored by Ibn Ezra's commentary. But here he disagrees strongly, mainly because this doesn't fit the order of the verses, but also ideologically, when he felt that when Kadosh Baruch Hu said that I'm about to destroy the Jewish people, you had to pray immediately. I mean, he doesn't say this, but you could think that that who knows how long it would take to go down and put an end to this crisis. And Kadosh Baruch was thinking, is threatening now to destroy the Jewish people. So there were two prayers actually. When Moshe heard this from Kadosh Baruch Hu, he made the prayer that we have here in Vayichal Moshe, Lama Yechrapcha, Lama Yemru Mitzrayim. These types of arguments that are not really a form of prayer, and I think the Ramban knows this, but were said immediately to sort of get a little time to postpone whatever punishment was going to come, and then Moshe could go down, put an end to the worship of the calf, and then ask for forgiveness. And with regard to the order of the verses, the Ramban is here. He's a very strong position that Ein Mukdam Mucha Torah is not an open check. It's not a rule, something you could invoke anytime you want to rearrange the order of things to make it fit, how your understanding of the story. That the Torah tells things in the correct chronological order, the precise order. There is an order, inherent literary structure, and order, including chronological order in the Torah. And that what Chazal have said, Ein Mukdam Mucha Torah, this is a specific exception in a number of cases, a very small number of cases, which the Ramban outlines somewhere else. So let me just briefly recap. Both Ibn Ezra and the Ramban agree that the differences between the version of the story in Tisa, in Exodus, and in Akev, in Deuteronomy, are not critical. The story is basically the same, and even though the language that Moshe cites what God said to him or his prayer was, these are differences in wording, but with no major no significant differences in meaning, and neither of them is bothered by the textual differences, which would probably be a feast for the modern critical approach. And they both agree that the critical moment is the moment which in our parsha God says Hanicha li vichar pibam, and in Akev Hashem says Heref mimeni vashmideim. Basically the same thing. Moshe, leave me alone. I'm going to destroy them now. And Moshe had to make a snap judgment in this crisis situation what to do. And here, the snap judgment had to do with these judgments, which even you're making under great pressure, but they still reflect your basic ideological approach. And here Ibn Ezra says the most important thing is to put out to put an end to the issue, put an end to the sin, because there's no point in trying to ask for forgiveness as long as the sin is still an active event. The Ramban, on the other hand, says no, that the first thing you do is pray. Prayer doesn't always, prayer often forestalls a punishment, and in fact, some thinkers think that that's all prayer does. In other words, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Kol Omer Ribbono Shel Olam, Vatran Hu Yivatru B'nei Me'av. In the end, we all get our just desserts, but sometimes Hashem, God will put off punishment, and Moshe may be ameliorated, and Moshe Rabbeinu had to pray immediately. So that's the ideological difference, and it's reflected in their different understandings of what Moshe did. But they also, as I said, reflects the difference in their approach to the biblical text, to the Torah. Ibn Ezra sees this rule of Ein Mukdam Mucha Torah as giving him an open hand to basically ignore the order in which the Torah presents things and put them into an order which makes the most sense in his understanding of the issue. Whereas the Ramban is very strict about the biblical order. Then, of course, that makes the different order and language in the Varim a much more of a serious problem for him. And his answer is that in Sefer Dvarim, what we have in the first parashot of Sefer Dvarim are this very long speech, this farewell address of Moshe Rabbeinu, in which he recounts, according to Bnei Israel, all the events that have gone on since the Exodus until now, where he's about to leave them. And for the purposes of this recounting, he, as one can understand, arranges them in a certain order which fits I want to say the rhetorical purpose that is of the speech. So it's a speech that or a tochecha, a scolding, in which the Moshe Rabbeinu says, time after time, you sinned and I prayed and God forgave. But then you sinned again and I prayed and God forgave. And this is how including the big sin of the egel, and this explains for the Ramban. There's a sufficient explanation for the different ordering in Akev, but basically his opinion is that the first thing you do in this crisis situation is pray. Prayer gives you a chance, a little bit of time, and a chance to then go and attend to the situation. And if you can, as Moshe successfully did, quench this rebellion, then you can go back and pray for forgiveness. So, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed your Purim, and Shabbat Shalom.